Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome. Today is Monday, May 16th, 2022. I am Solid Blue Sister, and this is My Turn to Talk. Welcome, Bahram. You are number one, and Grit, you are number two. Welcome. And to everyone over on on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. Hopefully this will work on TikTok today. Welcome. Have a couple of devices here I'm trying to stream through, so hopefully everything will work out the way it's supposed to. Or maybe not. And welcome, Joan, on TikTok. Welcome. Let me stop the music here. Joan, are you hearing me okay? And were you able to hear the music coming through on TikTok? Okay, let's see. All right, so today, okay, today's show. All right, welcome, Frankie. Okay, you changed your picture. See, sign language. So, does that mean I love you? I think that's what that means. Okay, so today, I want to talk about history. And is there an effort to erase it? And this topic is coming from actually a show I've been wanting to do, but it's coming from a show that I did. And yes, it is Tuesday for you, Grit. A show that I did Friday, which was supposed to be just a regular old fun show talking about riddles, but it turned into something else where a caller, I'm not going to say who the participant was unless you listen to the episode, or if they do come on this show later today, they want to say who they are, but I'm not going to mention their name. Felt that I was too into my blackness, that I talk about my color too much on my show, and he wanted to give me some tough love, and I don't know, maybe there was some mental things going on with me. Well, I can tell you, I am in my right mind, and I'm still black. Okay, you know, we've come to a time in our, I was going to say in our lives, but on this planet where some people are starting to push back just a little bit. And other people don't like it. Other people are starting to feel uncomfortable. And it's not anything that, that another group did to make this other group feel uncomfortable. But that's something that, that's a word that, some people choose to use. So I am going to talk about history because history does have a lot to do with where we are in the present. You can disagree with me, you can push back on me, and that's fine. But one thing that I'm not going to have someone do, and yes, it is, I am about to bring race into this. I'm not going to have a white man tell me how I'm supposed to be black. I'm not going to have a white man tell me that, I need to stop talking about who I am, where I come from, because it doesn't matter. Well, yeah, it does. And I do matter. So and I am here. So, one thing that I will say is that people have choices, and there are thousands of podcasts that are out there, thousands. And you can either choose to come on my show or you can choose not to come on my show. That is up to you. I don't force anyone to come on my show. And as you all know, on my show, we talk about a lot of things. I mean, we were talking about toilet paper. Okay. We talk about some of everything on my show. But I think that this particular person had been holding this in for so long because, again, my show on Friday, we were talking about riddles and it turned into my blackness. Which leads me to believe that this person had been wanting to say this to me for quite some time. And they said it. We went back and forth, whatever. But, at the end of the day, I'm going to think what I want to think. You're going to think what you want to think. And we're going to go about our merry way. But yesterday, welcome, Tuttles. Yesterday, I was on a show and I just happened to be just flipping through Podbean just to, see who was on. And I came across this particular show. And their topic was hate crimes. And I said, okay, the thing in Buffalo, New York had just happened. And yesterday we had a shooting at a church in Laguna Beach, California. Welcome, Kubella. Welcome. And this particular show, like I said, was talking about hate crimes. And as she was talking, I thought this woman was Black until a participant or someone from the UK called in and started saying things like, white lives matter, and the woman that I was listening to on the show yesterday, again, I thought she was Black until she started pushing back on this woman who called in from the UK. Welcome, Jester. And the show that I was listening to yesterday is her podcast is called In Love with Kimberly Michael. And when she started pushing back on this woman from the UK, she says, I'm white. And she just started to just lay everything down. She was like, boom, and white people do this, and boom, and white people do this, and boom, and everything was just like boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, well, damn. She's saying everything that we've been saying for years. And this woman who had called in, this woman who she didn't call in, she was on the chat, said to her, why are you, basically white people shouldn't be talking about white people, which I thought was kind of comical because we have people like Candace Owens who talks about Black people all the time, but a lot of white people don't have a problem with that. So the more I listened to her show, and it reminded me of the book White Fragility by Dr. Robin DiAngelo, who coined the term white fragility, and she is a white woman. And if you read the book, from what Kimberly Michael was saying last night and reading the book, I'm like, okay, they get it. They understand what we're talking about. And she kept going back and forth with this woman. And, you're listening to her speak. And I asked her, was she going to post a show? And she did. And it's a show that you guys, I'm just suggesting you listen to. You don't have to. But again, getting back to my show from Friday night, again, this participant, this was something that they had been holding in for quite some time, in my opinion. And again, my show was about supposed to be a fun show on Friday night about riddles and, where they come from and, fun riddles and silly riddles and things like that, to my blackness, to me, having pretty much a mental condition because I talk about being black. So I don't mean to make anybody, squirm in their seats or whatever. When I talk about blackness, I'm stating from my perspective and what I see from the lens that I look through every day. I know everyone, we are not going to see eye to eye. We never will. But, when I look at things and I see how uncomfortable we've been made to feel, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, my son can't listen to that. Oh, why are you trying to make us feel guilty? Oh, this, whatever. It just makes me shake my head. But again, the show on Friday night, it took a decided turn when this person said what they said to me. And again, I'm not going to say who they are. If they come on the show to today, if they want to say that it was them, if you all want to go back and listen to my show from Friday night, you can. And actually, when I hear things like that, once again, did I get offended? Nope. I've been listening to that stuff my entire life. But again, like I said before, I'm not going to have a white man tell me how I'm supposed to be black. I'm not going to have someone who, has a privilege, no matter how rich, poor they are, and they have a privilege over me, tell me how I'm supposed to feel. Because we've been hearing that our entire lives. Well, if only you would, if only they would just, why don't you do this? So what's the problem? No one wants to talk about history. Everybody wants to say, this is 2022. Let's live in the present. Hell, I want to live in the present too. But at the same time, it's like, this is 2022. Why are we still dealing with stuff, from, 1950, 1865, 1712, 16, 19, and 1502? Because it is still here. When you look at Buffalo, but then again, I have to play both sides of the fence. You did have a black man who ran his car last December, I do believe it was November, December, into a crowd full of people and killed an 8-year-old child. I do believe that was pathetic. That was horrible. And I made my voice known. It was sickening. But then again, I got to look back and look at Charlottesville and say, Heather Heyer. You're going to talk about one, you got to talk about the other. And we as, Zilla, I'm not taking any calls right now, but I will let you talk in a minute. Usually I don't go this long, but when it comes to my people and people who know me, I call them out a lot. But I'm also going to call out the other side. So if you want to come on my show and tell me that I'm talking about being black too much, again, you have choices. I appreciate people coming on my show. I know I have a good show. And if it weren't for all of you, I wouldn't have gotten to where I am. But again, you have choices. There are thousands of podcasts that are out there. So if people do not like what I say or my opinions, you don't have to listen. There are some shows that I like, some shows that I don't like. I mean, people. Again, we all have choices. So on that note, Zilla, if you want to come in, you are more than welcome. But I do believe that history is something that we cannot erase. One reason we are at the crossroads that we are is because of it. And if we don't talk about it and acknowledge it, we're going to be just going around in a circle. Just you blame this person, I blame this person. You blame this person, I blame this person. I mean, people are banning books, and half of the people probably haven't even read half the books that are out there. But
I totally agree.
So Ziller?
Oh yeah, I totally agree. 100%. Some of the times it's just one-sided completely.
Now, Tuttle says, I'm assuming you're saying if you instead of you. If you erase the mistakes of the past, you will make the same mistakes in the future. Absolutely. Absolutely. And what was interesting with this person, I said to them on Friday, I said, so I'm not supposed to talk about my past. So does that mean that everyone who's carrying a Confederate flag and says that their, great grandfather, whomever fought in the Revolutionary War, then should people stop waving those flags? It was like, yeah, and so? So it's okay to wave the Confederate flag, but we're not supposed to talk about our history. And I was also told that it wasn't my history because I didn't go through it. I may not have been a slave, but believe me, there are places that I go where I still have to show my freedom papers. People still want to know, why are you here? What are you doing here? Just like when you see people going into an apartment building. Do you live here? Can I see your key fob? Those are freedom papers. And believe me, in 2022, I'm still having to show my freedom papers. Zilla?
I say that's ridiculous. I say you shouldn't be able. I say you be. I just say that. Like Tuttle's just said, that's ridiculous. You're still showing it. This is 2022. That's ridiculous. Solid.
Well, I mean, I know this, and you know this, and other people may know this, but there are a lot of people out there who don't. And don't get me wrong, I'm not giving Black people a pass. I have problems with Black on Black crime, huge problems with it. And I have made my voice known about that. I have huge problems with the N word, and I'm just going to say it. Whether you're saying nigger with an ER or nigga with a GA, I have a problem with it. And people in my circle know you better not say it around me. My friends know I don't play that. And how you're going to call yourselves that, I have a huge problem with it. But at the same time, I know reality and I know history. And I know too many people went through too much crap. And we're still here at the same place. So, Mr. B, welcome Juju and welcome Chill.
Hello, hello. Thank you for inviting me again.
Thank you for coming on.
Um, I'm starting I don't know. You mind if I talk on my channel for a second? It's about what you're talking about.
Sure.
Haven't started yet, but I'm working on it. It's called People of Shades, and it's talking about what you're talking about right now. Really, it's about the history, and I want to share the true history of America, not just the black and white. It's about the whole thing about how America actually really started. And I get really offended when people try to tell me like, "Oh, it's the past, so don't worry about it." And then I'm like, if you don't know the past, then you are doomed to repeat it. That's that's a common thread that a lot of people believe or think about. Because if a group of people have more money or more status simply because what happened in the past, what happened? What about the other people that might have, been given a wooden spoon just because of the past? So a group of people can boast about, oh, my grandpa did this or my ancestor did this and all that. But the other side is, other ancestors did stuff too, but don't get the credit. And if they do get the credit, they don't get no funds about it. They just get a handshake or maybe a little medal. And who can eat a medal? You know what I mean?
Uh,
Like, good job, good work.
uh,
Okay, that doesn't pay the bills.
TikTok comes to mind. I,
And oh yeah, I get offended when people confuse Black history with CRT. Yeah, and I want to talk about that too. Some people are afraid to learn history, and actually, public schools teach history, but they teach it backwards, or they only teach certain parts of it, or some of it just plain out lies. Christopher Columbus did not discover anything, but you go to a school and you ask who found America, a lot of young kids will say Christopher Columbus, even though I'm pretty sure a lot of people here know like that's not true. But if it's not true, that why do they still teach that? Oh, it doesn't matter, or it doesn't. So that means the facts don't matter either. And I'm not trying to open a can of worms. I'm just saying if 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 a school is willing to teach that simple lie, what else are they teaching wrong? And the kids are our future, so how can they do right if they are fed with lies?
well, I
What do you
mean,
think?
but uh, first, let me welcome Live Music, Brina, and Saturday Night Smoke. Um, you know, when you look at what's being taught in schools, and I homeschooled my son from fifth grade through 12th grade, and if I could have, I would have pulled him out of the majority of the history classes that were being taught because it was a bunch of crap. And then when I was going through school, all the stuff that I was learning, um, you know, it was crap. And you're right, Christopher Columbus did not discover America. He didn't land anywhere near it. But if you look at Christopher Columbus's diary and the things that he did and the atrocities, how he pretty much wiped out an entire tribe of people from rape, murder. He was a child trafficker, and the queen told him, if you meet people when you're there, treat them well, be their friend. He came over with his soldiers or whatever and pretty much decimated an entire group of people. But we have a holiday for him. There's a statue for him. Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, all of them. Okay, they were the, they were the first, they were the second, they were the third president of the United States. What else? What else were they? They were slaveholders. How did they get rich? How was the South so strong? On the backs of slaves. We were the cash crop. So I'm pretty sure there's people sitting in this class, I mean, in this room right now, probably saying, Sal's talking a whole bunch of crap. She, I know what she's saying. Yeah, I do know what I'm saying. And see, the good thing about history, and this is where I encourage everybody, no matter what color you are, if you have somebody in your family who has some years on them and who can tell you and talk about the past, get those stories now before it's too late. I was blessed to know my great grandmother, who was half white, who told me stories about growing up, about her mother, about her father. My 3 times great grandfather was a white man. He was a slave owner who raped my 3 times great grandmother. I have 2 great uncles who were lynched. The past does matter. So if somebody wants to come on my show and tell me that I have a mental problem because I talk about Blackness, okay, that's fine. They can say and do whatever, they can think whatever they want to think. That is fine. That is their choice. That doesn't mean I have to accept it. Doesn't mean that, pretty much I have to listen to it. But I can set the record straight. So again, I say, lots of thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of podcasts that are out there. I'm only but one. Petty Deb says, I get offended when people confirm Black history with CRT. And I will tell you this, the term CRT, I don't like that term. I don't like critical race theory. I understand the concept behind it, but I disagree with it. Just like I don't like Black Lives Matter. I understand the concept behind it, but it should have been a 2 behind there. Black Lives Matter 2. Because then you get all these other lives that matter, and it's like, that's not the point. I understand what they were saying, but they should have put that 2 behind it. Just like the whole defund, whatever, horrible slogan. I understood what they were saying. But again, terminology matters. And people will take it twisted.
It was done deliberately.
Well, could have been. And damage was done.
Absolutely.
But when people, talk about, and Kimberly Michael was talking about this on her show yesterday, how she wants to empower, Black people to have their own sources of income and, this and that, whatever. But we had that. There were hundreds of Black Wall Streets at the turn of the century. There were hundreds of them. But people got jealous and burned them to the ground. After they stole all their stuff, burned them to the ground. And for years, trying to recover. We had artwork.
Detroit is still trying to get back together.
Hell,
Clinton is still trying to get back
California
together.
is still trying to get back together. Parts of Chicago are still trying to get back together, but that Chicago's a whole different story. I mean,
But here's the thing, though. What happened to Florida a couple years ago? That hurricane, whatever, it blew down that city and everything. And
oh
when a
yeah,
few weeks, bam, it was together.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But Flint in Detroit can't get $2 without begging for it.
And Flint,
Why?
they're still drinking bad water, and that's been
That's over a
happening from
decade.
administration to administration to administration to administration to administration on both sides.
And what they're
So
trying to blame is saying it costs too much to fix the problem. So how much does a person's life matter then?
I don't know.
Yeah,
So
it's an outrage.
okay, and Tuttle says he is also the first person to say the world is a globe. Are you? I'm just looking at these comments. Are you talking about Christopher Columbus? Because he's not the first person, I don't think, who said the Earth was round. It was a. I don't think that's what it
I
was.
think he was being sarcastic, but that's how I took it. I don't know.
Okay, all right. Tuttle's, are you being sarcastic? Okay, and then Petty Deb says, when Black people talk about their history, other people think we are racist. Okay, like I said, guys, this show is addressing Friday show. So if anybody's getting uncomfortable, whatever, that's not on me. That's how you choose to feel. And I'm sorry, Mr. B.
Petty Deb just wrote, "Poor Black people don't matter."
I got solid. Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Black people do matter. I don't understand. Can you tell me what that means? I have more black friends than white people. So what? I don't understand Deb's thing right there. I that I don't like what she says. That I don't know. I mean, everybody matters.
Okay, let me ask you. I am going to tell you what she meant. Welcome, shy lady. I didn't see you come in. Let me ask this first. Why did you say that you had black friends?
Well, because I grew up with them. I grew up in a place with all kinds of. I grew up in a neighborhood like that, and I grew up where I grew it. The highest school, all the schools there was 4 white people, and it was the ghetto, and it was great. I learned a lot. It was fun.
Okay. So first of all, let me just correct something for you. A ghetto, which a lot of people think, it's just a bunch of poor black people. A ghetto is actually one race of people. So actually, a place like Beverly Hills could be a ghetto. Welcome, Bernard, and welcome, Woody Bush. But what she says by, not caring about poor black people, history has shown that when you look at neighborhoods that are fixed up, schools, that get new books or, desk, um, the building, whatever. If you go into neighborhoods where you even look at the stores that are there in poor neighborhoods of color, they usually don't have that. The money is usually spent elsewhere, and they do usually have to plead and fight for the little bone that they get. This is true. This is This is true. So that's what she meant.
Solid. I would. I don't know. I'm not going to win this situation.
No, I mean, I'm not trying to win or lose. I'm just telling you what she meant. That usually, if there's a choice between spending money over here for poor people, I'm just going to say poor people, period. Then you add poor people of color, as opposed to spending it where there's someone rich or someone white. More than likely, the people in the white neighborhood is going to get the advantage.
Oh, I totally agree. We
So yeah, so that
we
is what
never
she
had new
meant.
books.
Yeah.
We never had new books. We had the old crappy desk, old crappy floors. No, we had nothing. Well, we had books, but we had the old versions, 3 versions back, where you know, Uptown had all the good stuff.
I mean, so right. So I mean, so when you look at that again, you look at a poor neighborhood versus a well-off one. The well-off one is generally going to get it. And Petty Deb is also saying red line neighborhoods. I mean, why were neighborhoods red line? Because they didn't want people of color living there. Seriously? And like I said, my sister and I, we've been cleaning out our parents' house, going through 63 years worth of stuff, and we're pulling out stuff from when my parents first bought the house. And literally, even though the house was in my father's name, technically, my father had to have a white person buy our house, the house that I grew up in, because black people weren't supposed to have any type of house in that neighborhood. We weren't supposed to live there. I grew up in Chicago when Chicago was a lot different from the way it is now. And I grew up in one of the best neighborhoods in that city. But we weren't supposed to live there. And that neighborhood became a very cohesive black neighborhood. And then you do some soul searching. You're like, do you all know this? Or do you all know this? Whatever. You still have sundown towns that are still on the books as of 2005. There are still sundown towns. Zilla, do you know what a sundown town is? Well, for anyone who doesn't know what a sundown town is, that meant that black people had to get out of the town by sundown or else.
I never heard that term, but
Yes, I have
heard of that event.
Yes.
Sorry,
yes.
I was having a seizure.
Yes. So, and then you have, let's see, welcome Alpha Mike and welcome Tulian. And then, you have the Green Book. I can't tell you how many times my family drove back and forth to California, going to visit relatives. And we had that Green Book with us. Or my father had to stop and ask a white person if they could, rent a hotel room for us, and we had to sneak in. This was in the 60s. Seriously.
I've done that before.
That's crazy.
History, there's a YouTube video out there that talks about the DNA of America. And America's DNA is built on racism. It's ingrained in us. But people don't want to admit it. People don't want to see it. But it is there. And they know it's there. But instead, I'm going to have a white man on Friday night tell me how I'm supposed to be black.
You can't help but to see it.
but we know this, and this is why when I went on that show last night, it was like Kimberly Michael was the white Candace Owens. And she was so on point that the only thing you could do is just sit there and just listen to her. And then when she started talking about how her children were mixed, whatever, and the things that she had to go through with her children, whatever, and she just kept talking about just society and the way society is. I'm sitting there listening to her last night. I'm like, this is a white woman that gets it, that understands. So anybody else want to say anything? Or
Some people just refuse not to see the issue, or don't want to take the time to understand someone's point of view.
And I agree with Mr. B because, I had a person earlier this morning, right after I came from just our Doomsday show, come right to me and laugh right in my face after I was in a seizure. And I am sorry, Solid Blue. I'm sorry this even happened to you.
but Zilla, I'm not looking for something. I mean, I appreciate your saying that. I'm not looking for sympathy, but I do believe that people need to acknowledge that with history and with everything that is going on, people live their life through different lenses. And we were talking about this on Friday night also. And again, a show that was supposed to be fun about riddles got turned around, into what it was, but people have a different reality. And if you can either acknowledge it or you cannot, but I know what my reality is and I know what my reality isn't. So, and again, I say, there are many podcasts that are out there, many. And if what I say offends you, don't come on my show. I'm not going to block anybody. I'm not going to do that because I'm just not, unless you say something rude or it's a slur, or you're saying f you that and f you that, then I will block you. But you can come on here, you can say your opinion, you can push back. Somebody told me you got what you got one time. I didn't get anything. Somebody pushed back on me, I pushed back on them. That's what we do on my show sometimes. But one thing I'm not going to have, and as I said before, I'm not going to have a white man tell me how I'm supposed to be black, or I talk about my blackness too much. So,
and good for you, Solid. It sounds like somebody pushed your limits and you're sticking up for it, and that's fantastic. To tell you the truth, Solid, I wish I could do the same thing for all the people that do the same thing that pick on me for the last 31 years for the seizures. They do it all the time on my show for being disabled. So
and that's where the ignorance, comes in, because I do believe there's a lot of ignorance that is out there. And when I use that word, I don't mean stupid. I mean just ignorant of certain things. And Tuttle says 2 of my children are mixed, and trust me, even in Canada, I still don't understand some of the shit they go through. So welcome, Daddy Hoff. Welcome, Kruspa. Welcome, Dude Sean.
Welcome, Danny Glover.
I'm sorry, welcome who?
Danny Glover.
Did I miss him?
No, I'm just messing with you.
Oh, okay. Because I'm looking like, I'm like, I know I can read here. So, okay. And then Deb says, yep, the Green Book I remember. And even with the Green Book, it's like when we used to travel with the Green Book and just seeing the humiliation that my father had. Here he is with his wife and his two girls, whatever. And to see your father go through that and see it on his face. So but those are realities.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I never heard of a Green Book, but the way you're talking about it, obviously I know what it means now. But when did the Green Book started? I never heard of that before.
The Green Book, in fact, they made a movie of it. The Green Book started actually around the 20s and 30s, and it was mainly prevalent in the South. When traveling in the South for any Black person, day or night, was extremely dangerous, but especially at night. And there were most places did not accept Black overnight guests. So what the Green Book was it was a book where people who would Black people would open up their homes to travelers who were Black, and let them stay for the night to 2 nights, whatever. And they would basically be like a hotel or bed and, breakfast, whatever. And usually they wouldn't charge. It was like, you need a place to stay, come and stay here. And when it was getting dark outside, and a lot of those people were traveling through sundown towns, and they would actually have sheriffs who would be along the road, and again, these southern roads, where they were just waiting to see if they would catch, someone Black or a Negro who did not make it out of town after sundown. And when I say make it out of town, I mean if the city limits was right here, you had to be right there. You had to be literally on the other side of that city limit. And if you were in a situation where it was a back-to-back sundown town, you were pretty much screwed. So the Green Book, came up, because of that. And a lot of those places that were in the Green Book. In fact, I have a Green Book. And if you look at some of the homes that were along that were along the road, the highway, whatever, a lot of those homes were like in the backwoods or whatever, just out of the way places, whatever. But people knew through this Green Book how they can get. It was like almost a map. It was almost like an underground railroad. And this is the 20th century. In Chicago, the majority of the Southwest Side was a sundown town. And growing up, it was like we didn't go over there, because if we did, we would get chased out. I mean, hell, look at what happened to Martin Luther King when he went to the. That's what it is.
That's deep.
But unfortunately, that's the world that we lived in, and unfortunately, that's the world that we still live in. We were talking about laws Friday night. Just because something's a law doesn't make it right, doesn't make it true.
No.
I mean, to me, a sundown town, that law. Hell, you still have laws on the books where having something other than missionary sex is against the law.
Yeah, I forgot those called dead laws or something like that. Like it's still technically a law, but nobody follows anymore,
Right,
kind
but
of thing.
I'm just saying,
But no,
it's
no, I understand what
right,
you're saying.
right,
It's
right.
ridiculous.
So so
It's like the Constitution about voting. I remember what was it, a couple of years ago, maybe longer than that, about when the year when technically African Americans couldn't vote anymore because it was only set for so many years, and some people was concerned that they was going to follow it.
right, you know. So and then from what Grit said, in South Africa in the apartheid days, if a person of color was caught in the streets after a certain time of the day without their green book, they would get locked up. And the Alpha Mike said, I found out today that ranch dressing was made by a black cowboy and named it after his ranch called Hidden Valley. He then sold it to Clorox Company in 1972. Why? Not sure why a bleach company would want it. I mean, you look at, and thank you, Alpha Mike. You look at all of the inventions that are out there. The cotton gin wasn't invented by Eli Whitney. It was invented by a slave. It was invented by a slave who was tired of picking cotton by hand. The traffic light, all these, there's so many inventions out there that were stolen.
Yeah,
But I mean, and that's why when last night when I was listening to this other show, and she was saying, and again, I was surprised that she was white, and I did not know she was white literally until she said it. But when she, just saying the empowerment, how black people need to do this, and and maybe if help them do this, whatever. And I'm saying to myself, we had all of that. We had banks. We had newspapers. We had wealth. People didn't like it, so they burned it down. They went to the nearest tree. Thousands of stories like it. So it's not like that we couldn't, like we haven't. We did. And history, I'm sorry. You can say this is 2022 and we're going into 2023 and what have you, but you know, unless you recognize, and again, I'm not trying to make anybody feel guilty. If you feel guilty, that's your own feeling. That's how you choose to feel. Because nobody's gonna make me feel guilty about anything. Well,
it's
maybe my son may make me feel guilty about a couple of things, but not gonna happen.
it's like a us versus them going on.
But it's always been like that. So I mean, literally, you can say how many black friends you have. I can say how many white friends you have, but at the same time, I've been around my white friends when you sit there and they say something to you, and you're looking at them like, "What the fuck?" And I mean, I've been to lunch with some of my white friends, and they say things, and you're just kind of scratching your head, like, okay, all right, And sometimes you say something, a lot of times you don't, and you're just like, just let me just get through this and get home, whatever. So I mean, seriously. So crazy lady, welcome.
Yeah, and what my cast talks about, or it's going to talk about, is how everyone is related. The world,
And that's another thing too. Yeah, how we are related. So
yeah,
while people are trying to run away from history, believe me, you all start looking back in your family tree, you're gonna trip over one of us. Because I guarantee you, especially if you from the South, you're gonna trip over one of us. Because I've been able to trace my family tree back to 1782, I do believe it is, and I've tripped over a lot of people. So
the world is black. It is people don't realize it.
oh well, the continent of Africa was where it all started. So
I like to joke around with people who say that they don't believe that, or for some reason really side with the KKK. Look at them and say, you're hating your cousins, right? Because studies have proven that everyone is pretty about 52nd or 53rd cousin to everybody on Earth.
well, Mr. B, if you can mute for a moment, Crazy Lady's
Yeah,
been
of course.
waiting patiently. So welcome, Crazy Lady.
I was going to say, well, I had a couple statements to say. We already know history is always written by the winners. Okay. And history is important, we hopefully learn from, prior mistakes that humankind has made through our history. Our history gives us our culture, which, I've traveled the world. I have seen the world, and I love all the different cultures, they're all, fascinating, and yeah, we're all related, people. We're all brothers and sisters. We all share the same divine light. So you guys are stuck with me. Sorry about your luck.
No. That's fine. And when you look at this world, as vast as it is, it's really not that big. So and it's interesting because I'm just, again, I think about my show on Friday where everybody had these opinions and now no one's saying anything. But
Missed that one.
the
Sorry.
past, no, that's fine, but the past is very much a part of who we are,
Our future,
and where we are now, and very much a part of our future. It has to be acknowledged. You can choose to ignore it. You can choose to, not want to talk about it. And that's your right. But I don't think we're going to take any steps forward if we don't. And Sade said, as I said on the show before, for those who don't know, Jack Daniel's whiskey was invented by a slave. Yes, it was. I don't know. If you did not hear the show that I did on Friday, it is called Friday Freelance, the chicken or the egg, or chicken or the egg. And again, it was supposed to be a fun show about riddles, but someone took the opportunity to turn it into something else. So I guess this could be a part 2 of that show. It was not meant to be. It was just, really, after listening to the podcast I was on last night, I just wanted to get some things clear. So, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not here to make anyone feel uncomfortable. And if you do, that's on you. I don't have anything to do with how you feel. So, Ba, welcome.
Hi. Hope you're all well tonight. I've just called in just to, I've had this show with you guys before and it turned into a disaster. So I know everyone probably knows my views on this stuff. So the main reason I've called in is to provide any context. If there's any questions, like some of you're kind of asking questions, but no one's really answering. So I'll do my best. just to represent where the kind of. I mean, I did listen to Friday night show, and I totally get both sides. I think the main problem whenever this conversation arises is the way you put it across. I hate when it ends up with people walking out a room or getting nasty or, shutting down the conversation. This is a conversation that we all want to have. It's clear, because there's quite often on this show the topic does turn to race, and I'm open. I'll talk about race every night if you want. But ultimately, the biggest part that I push back on from Saturday night, from Friday night is, and I've spoke to you about this before, like me and you, Solid, on Friendly Differences is, and again, I'm not picking on you. I know there's loads of people that do this, but I personally don't like it when people say, that's your opinion, I have my opinion, so you can think what you want and I can think what I want. Because as I've said to you, I think there is a divine truth. And I think it was a comment made from one of the people you're referring to about reality, and this phrase about living my truth and my reality. I do push back on that, because the example I use is, if someone in Baltimore, all they see right now is policemen shooting black men, and they probably grow up thinking that all police are racist. So does their reality mean that all police are racist? Yes, but is that the reality of life? No. So I that's the main part. I don't like when, and it's not just in the race conversation, it's every conversation. Whenever someone brings up something that counterreacts their position, and then people say, well, that's your opinion, you're entitled to it. And like, I just feel like there's more investigation to be had. I don't like that in general. So I just wanted to add that.
Okay, but Bob, just from what you just said, and I am about to say that is your opinion. That's how you feel. That's how you feel about something. I mean, someone can come up to me and say, um, "Hey, okay." In fact, I will give you a perfect example. Um, Someone said to me, "You should really ride your bike over to this one neighborhood, because if you follow this particular bike path, it's really, really nice." I said to this person, I don't want to ride my bike over there. I've ridden my bike. Oh, and this is true. I've ridden my bike over there once. The trail, while it's pretty, um, you have a lot of people who are running, and you have people who are walking their dogs, whatever, and they get in the way of the bike trail, whatever, and you're constantly stopping and going. I don't ride my bike over there because I don't like it. Oh, no, 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 no. You don't know what you're talking about. If you go at this particular time, I'm like, but I don't want to go at that particular time. I want to go at this particular time, and the particular time that I'm going, it's not good for me. And they're pushing on me and saying, you should really go. That's their opinion. That's what they think. Don't try to, just because you think that there's a resolution or whatever, that's, again, that still is your opinion. And when people get upset and walk out of a room, are they getting upset? Again, the way you phrase things. And you have told me this, and you've called me out on this before, when you say that I should use the word some. And I say the same thing to you. You should use the word some. And the way you phrase things is absolutely correct. I may not phrase things the right way all the time, but there are things, if you have said that, again, phrasing does matter. So if you don't phrase things a certain way, then yeah, people may get up and they may walk out the room, or they may not like it. So maybe the phrasing does matter.
No, your example that you've used there is totally irrelevant. I'm talking about things that are, in factual, and especially in the racial conversation. I'm not talking about where someone likes to ride their bike. I'm talking about, do we brand white people racist? Do we brand the police racist? Like, these are serious topics.
Okay, right.
So in those
okay,
in
but
those
okay.
topics, you can't have, like, okay, you can have opinions, but if that opinion affects law or arguments, or like, what the causality of racism is, then no, I think we need to explore them further.
Okay, so then at the same time, I can say, can you say that all black people are thieves? That all black men want to rape white women? That all, the stereotypes that are out there about the majority of black people came from white people. So in that case, you can say, are all white people racist? No, of course not. Are all black people racist? No, of course not. Can black people be racist? Absolutely. But again, your reality that you live and the reality that I live and the things that I experience, you cannot tell me that that doesn't happen. Just like I cannot tell you that the reality that you experience doesn't happen. We can go into a store and you can get waited on and I may not get waited on. We live our life differently. Everyone lives their life through a different lens. That is a fact. Everyone's life is not the same. And just because you think that we should do things this way or we should do things that way doesn't make it right. Just like I may think that we should do things a certain way doesn't mean that what I'm saying is right.
I mean, I've had this conversation before, and I just think that the whole tough love thing that one of the other callers was saying is I mean, no one's saying, I don't think I've ever heard or would like to hear anyone saying that you should be quiet, like, or that your truth isn't your truth, like that racism doesn't happen. I've yet to hear someone say that, and I would push back on them, because I think everyone knows it's evident, it's there. But I think in a list of 100 things that are keeping the black race oppressed, white people, white supremacy wouldn't even be on the top 100. I think that there's other factors that we need to look at, and in regards to, even like, this is something I heard today, was our world is literally a pyramid power structure. And black people, white people, Latino people, all skin color people are in the bottom tier if they are poor. It's a class structure, and you'll often hear the same way that the black people don't like the, I mean, this is a tricky word, how to word it, but don't read too much into it. But the black people hate on the white people because they say they've got white privilege. The same white people hate on Jewish people because they've got privilege. And I'm sure the Jewish people, they're quite high up, but they've probably hate on I don't know who. But it's the same. It's like you're a slave if that's the way you're going to live, even in today, in 2022. If that's the way you're going to live your lives, by hating on people because of their skin color, because they have this privilege or whatever, you're a slave. Even like the reparations conversation, the leader of the BLM wrote out 10 things that they wanted white people to do, and it was like, if you inherit a house, you have to give it to black people. If you have no kids and you're living in a 4 bedroomed house, you have to downsize. This was all like things that she had wrote out in her, I don't know what to call it, but I would like, do you guys want handouts? Do you guys want like things from white people? Because I just think it's all, I think white people, a poor white person and a poor black person has more in common than a rich white person does with a poor white person. That's it, the be all and end all.
Can I say something finally?
Sure, Zilla.
But Ram just said what I was going to say. Exactly my point. I two of two different colors that are poor have more in common than two rich people of two different colors. And why can't has any, I haven't heard this one bit since I've been on this panel. Everybody spills the same color blood, blue. Why hasn't that came up in this conversation? If we're going to say anything, I just want to know why hasn't that came up? If we're going to talk about white people, any kind of race, it doesn't matter. We all spill the color blue until it hits the air, which is red. Then it spills red. But why hasn't that came up? And why can't? And I'll speak from my show. I've had death threats. I've had this and this. Why can't you just let one little tiny thing go and just go play with your kids and do this kind of thing? Why does it have to be such a gigantic freaking thing that you cannot just go and let it go because somebody says, "Why don't you go kill your goddamn self, Ziller?" It's one of those things where I was like, "Okay, whatever. I'll go do it." And then I said, "Oh, he's just trying to troll me. Whatever. I'll go and sit down and relax and read a book." That's what I wanted to know.
Well, first of all, I don't think history is something that you should let go. And again, Bob and I, we go back and forth all the time. And it is going to be, it is going to have to be agree to disagree, because I know that I live a reality that Bob will never know. I know this for a fact. So I'm not looking for a handout. Everything that I have ever had was something that I worked for, and I don't think most Black people are looking for handouts. Just like I don't think most white people are, or Latinos, or Native Americans, whomever. But then again, there's that stereotype again. Looking for those handouts. We were doing very, very well, very, very well, until somebody decided to burn it all down. Jill, welcome. Thank you for waiting. You there, Jill? There
Yeah,
you
I'm
are.
here. Hey, y'all. Yeah. So in general, I didn't catch Friday's show. I didn't necessarily know the premise of what it was about, but I can speak to this conversation in general, which is this is the most important conversation races can have. The differences. So, Bob may think one thing, solid things one thing, and in the middle there's a like I'm not gonna say a truth. It's like an illumination though. So and we all have our points of reference, but sometimes our points of reference they may not necessarily be a true. You might not have all the information. You can only work with the information you have, and that's what experiences bring you, right? So you're like, damn, now I walk in the person's shoes. Oh, now I see what they mean. So it's always difficult to not have that and speak from a position outside. And so the only thing I can ask from anybody is just to be open ear about it, about if I have this situation, to be open ear and consider that, because with your point of reference may be hindering your illumination process. And so typically when we have these conversations, if it's another race saying like, ah man, black folks need to just pull themselves, you don't want handouts. Well, like I said, if that's it's a point of reference. Black folks don't think of it like that because if you promised, isn't it, a constitution, 40 acres and a mule, and we've never got it,
you wouldn't be giving us a handout. You'd be giving us what we already was promised, and that's a big difference because what was already promised, other people were afforded that, and generationally, they they benefit from that, right? And so generationally, black folks benefited as well, but not necessarily in the most fruitful way. Um, and that's a lot of times what people forget, just because like today, it's okay for us not to necessarily want handouts. Yeah, well, I didn't do that. That was 100 years ago. But that person who has generational wealth, they didn't do that. You didn't take their wealth from their, you didn't make them start all over from Jump Street and take their past benefits from them. As is you saying that I shouldn't get any, benefits. I mean, why should they then? And so that's the chicken. That's the way the race goes round and round and round. You just have that argument, and then really what it is just coming together against classism, against other things that can be over that. But you got to get your house in order in general. Like Boss say, 100 things may be be the problem more than just I don't know, racism. But hell, how can that be if we want to bring the poor folks together? We got to fight racism. If we want a trailer park in the hood to come together, guess what we got to do? We got to overcome racism. So that's not 100 things above that. That's the number one thing above that, because you try to ask a conglomerate of people to come together and have a reference point. But there's a problem here. There's some healing needs to be had, and so that makes it number one. And in their eyes, so they can look up and say, you know what? Hey, the real problem's there. That's a commonality, but you still got, regardless of whatever, you still got issues at that point. And trust, so that's the part that really needs to be had. And it's a hard thing to do. That's why when people like a Martin Luther King come along, or whoever symbolizes that in general, that can bring that together, that's why they become public enemy number one, because of the classism that exists. So it's different ways to skin a cat. You can do it from the inside or the out. Sometimes you need both working on, you might have, your body working on that virus, but you take some medicine to come from the outside to work on the virus to expedite your cure or your sickness out of your body. And that's just how it works. And that's the plan that I really feel needs to happen in general. Not necessarily us running a rat. I mean, hey, I'll disagree with this, disagree with that, because I can tell you unequivocally without a doubt, there is a reason for let's not even think about killings. I don't trust police because I grew up in the hood. Period. They didn't necessarily kill us left and right, but what they did do, they did whoop our ass. They did take my money. I worked at Wendy's, cashed my check for $300, walked from the store. The SWAT just ended up getting all the corner boys. I was just coming out of the store. They were hitting me up. And that was the first time. It happened a couple times. That was the first guy it happened to. So it's not even just about killing the police. It's about the way, just the over-policing of the hoods in general. So that's another scope you don't think about when you make that deduction of who's and who's and what. So you can't just go macro level, ignore micro level, although it may be this is the grand plan of the people up top. We're still living in this right now, and there's still a problem. So you just can't ignore the small things on a day-to-day basis that are affecting you, and just look up to, I don't know, Bill Gates or something, who I never see, I never talk to, I never, what I'm saying? He could be pulling strings above, but it's not a one-way thing that we got to handle. It's a consciousness, and then we handle it together. But yeah, that's for the most part. I mean, I can go on.
No, I mean, and Chill, I am glad that you use that phrase, point of reference, because it is your point of reference. And that's what I mean when I say people are living through a different lens at their reality. And that's exactly, and you summed it up the way, that I wish I did before. Point of reference. What is your point of reference? Everyone has something different. You just told why you don't trust cops. That's your point of reference. So everyone's not out there looking for a handout. I have not seen the BLM, whatever she demanded, whatever. I have not seen that. But to sit up here and say that somebody should give up their house, if they live if they only have this many kids and they live in this big of a house, I think that's ridiculous. No matter who says it, no matter who
Right.
says it, but
Absolutely. And that's
at,
extremes, though.
right,
I think that's extremes.
right.
Yeah,
But at the
we're not
same
asking for that.
But at the same time, it's like I've heard, the extremes from other people. Again, I think it's ridiculous that we can't send our kids to school with dreadlocks or braids or whatever without having them sent home. I think it's ridiculous that my governor here in California, which a lot of people don't like, had to make a law, the Crown Act, just so our kids, so children of color could go to school without being sent home because of their hair. That's a point of reference. That is a reality. That is a reality that they live, or people of color live, that someone else would not. So it's more than just, and it does come down to, it is your opinion. You think a certain way, I think a certain way. Are you going to tell me that I'm wrong? Am I going to tell you that you're wrong? I'm not trying to change your mind. I'm just telling you the facts that I know for a fact. Ziller.
But okay, but can I just say something really real quick? I'll be short, Zilla, I promise.
I know. That's
One
fine.
thing, I do think that we also, just to speak, I know what Bob's trying to say, but I think is a glaring, like some of it is missing, and that just comes from us explain, maybe, and like I said, illuminating, and whatever he thinks of that at that point or not, just having that conversation. But we also have to be cognizant of, is every policeman bad? No, I don't think that.
No,
I got
of course
people
not.
who I live, uncles, grandfathers, people, you know what I'm saying? So there's a mix, but that doesn't necessarily, and I do think the media takes that, maybe that 1 or 2% of those hundreds of thousands of millions, incidences with the police. You can't put those on camera and filter that through the news. But what the percentages is of black happenings and bad experiences, you live in the hood, so you can see it, and so that hasn't, that you can't quantify like that statistically, and so you got to make sure you take consideration of something of that nature. Now, who knows the statistics? So you can only speak from personal experience.
All right, and Ziller, can you hold on 1 second, because Shy Lady has been sitting here and she has been been waiting.
No problem.
Okay, Shy Lady, I am so sorry. Thank you for waiting and waiting and waiting.
No. It's all good. I'm out doing errands, so I'm listening, and I haven't been that participatory because I'm out doing errands, and I've got a few calls, but that's neither here nor there. But as always, I'm enjoying the show, enjoying everyone's different points of references. So it's all good. It's all good.
Okay.
It's all good.
All right.
But I can't remember if there's anything. I wanted to say something before I got a couple of calls, but the time has passed now, because it's probably not even relevant now. But at any rate,
do you want to say it? Go ahead and say it. Go ahead and say it.
I can't remember it now.
Okay, now
the Green Book, but
okay, yeah. Okay. You want to say something about the Green Book?
I wanted to say that, for some people, I know you were talking about sundown towns and things like that, but some people are under the assumption that stuff is not still happening out here, and it is. It really, really is, and I thought, being a young woman, growing up in Chicago, that things were getting better, but I had an experience. This was a while back. But I had an experience back in like 88, 89, it may have been 1990, when I was picking up a friend from airport at Midway. And I was turning around to make a U-turn in the street. And there was a group of white kids standing outside, calling me the N-word, chasing after my car, get out of here, you don't belong. And this was 1990. And I was literally chased out of there in my car, running, speed over the speed limit, trying to get the heck out of there, because I didn't know, what their capabilities were. But unfortunately, This stuff is still happening.
But once
You know, it
again,
really is.
and where was Midway? It was on the southwest side of Chicago.
Exactly.
And
This
it's
was back at the
and that area is still like that in 2022. I was over
yeah.
there a couple of months ago. So yeah. Okay, Ziller.
Okay, do you think this is ever going to stop? Ever?
No,
Okay,
no.
okay. This goes to my next point. Now, do you? Now this goes just to me. Yeah, I know, Tulls. I know exactly what the answer was going to be, because exactly what comes down to my is the trolling, the my situation with my handicapness. There's always going to be somebody that's going to pick on me when I go to some place. Exactly the same thing with racistness. The racistness is not going to stop, because there's going to be a new generation that always finds a situation, a loophole, something like that. So, me and Deb has been talking. I like what she says. She may not like what I say, but I like Deb. She has, and I love Solid Blue. She knows that. Then I love that she lets me up here as well, but that's not the point. I mean, some of the things Solid says, I like how she protects her show. That's the great thing. I've learned a lot from Solid Blue. I've learned a lot about Ba. Ba is a very interesting person. Chill, I know Chill for a long time. Chill was the first person that got me onto my podcasting. And Tunnels as well. So, but anyways, so Solid. Listen, I've got a question for you. This is just tending to me, okay? Not the away from the racist for just a minute, okay? Um, so I have cerebral palsy and I have brain damage. I fall all the time, and people, So do you think that would ever stop? Picking on, like, if you looked at me and saw my hand, it looks like a crab hand. Do you think that would ever stop people picking on me? I'm like literally 90-year-old people still pick on me because they take one glimpse and they like, oh, that's funny, because they don't think it's a joke. They think that's funny because he has a crap hand. That's not going to stop just because of one day. Well, how can I go at that at a different angle? Should I be mad and just go on, or should I just go to the next song and say or should I just whatever? That guy, I'm not going to see that person the next day. I know this is podcasting, and yeah, you might see them, or should I just laugh it off? Because I've gone through this for 31 years, and I've learned to deal with it, and especially you got Bahram with you, you got Chillwell, you got me, you got Chill Lady, you got 15 people in here, and you got other people that come in here as well, supporting you, Solid. I don't know if you understand that, but I don't under this is what I don't understand at this point, is how is this getting you so frustrated about the situation right this second? And I know it gets you mad. I understand that. But how does it get you where you're so super tight when I've dealt I'm not the black person, but I dealt with the handicapness part, you know what I mean? I don't know. You see what I'm saying?
Can I
Okay.
correct you on something?
Yeah, go ahead.
First of all, I am not frustrated. I
Oh, okay.
am not mad. I am stating fact.
Oh, okay. Oh, well,
So
it seems.
hold on. And in terms of people treating you the way they treat you because of a disability, no, I don't think that it will stop, because there will always be ignorant people out there who always want to make fun of someone or talk about someone. Those people will always be here. That's just life.
Oh,
So
yeah, I agree.
unfortunately, that will happen. However, again, as I stated when this show started, I this show from again my show on Friday started out as a again fun show about riddles, and a particular person took it a completely different way, and I think that person had been wanting to say what they wanted to say to me for quite some time. Now, people can say I'm being defensive, whatever. That is fine. But one thing I am not is I am not frustrated. I'm just stating my fact and what I know. And Bob probably will not like this terminology, but I don't care. This is my truth. And I'm just basically stating that after the show on Friday night, then after listening to the show from the lady last night, whatever, this show is what it is. I will have my opinion.
Oh yeah.
People do have opinions. I don't
Yes,
believe
ma'am.
that opinions are rooted necessarily in fact, because if you believe one thing and someone believes something else, and if no one is budging, then that's what it is. And I'm glad that Chill came in and used the term point of reference. Everybody has their own point of reference. I'm not trying to change anybody's mind. Again, I'm just basically saying from what was said to me on Friday night, I am not going to have a white man tell me how I'm supposed to be black.
Okay. Well, and I appreciate that because they shouldn't. And you said don't say sorry because I'm just glad that it seems like you got frustrated a little through the show, but that's fantastic. I'll shut up right now. So go to somebody else.
All right. And again, people who know me, Shy Lady has known me, and we've been friends for over 35 years. She's seen me when I've been frustrated. She has seen me when I have, lost it. And believe me, losing it over something like this, this is nothing. You want to see me lose it? Go after my child. You want to see me lose it? Try to do something, bad to my dogs. But you go after my child, then you'll see me lose it. So, Miss Moody, thank you very much. So I'm sorry, well, that we got deep today, but again, there were, points of references that I had to make again from Friday's show. And throughout Friday's show, and Boss said you did listen to it, I tried to turn the conversation back towards riddles, and this person kept bringing it in. Then somebody else came on and brought it back to where it was, and the show kind of stayed on that level. So when I try to have a fun show, again, I was trying. So, blah.
I don't know. I think I'd like to see this conversation be taken forward to the next level. Maybe next time, just as a request, and maybe speaking out of turn. But I think we've all, everyone here, in my opinion, agrees racism is real. It happens. So now that we've conquered that, we all agree. How do we go forward? Because I've been part of your show for 5-6 months, and it never seems to move forward. And I know, Chill Will, that you keep coming on and saying that this is the best conversation and it needs to be had. And I know you echo that solid, and I agree. I think a lot of people need to have this chat. But if I'm not speaking out of turn, I think most people on Podbean have been in and out of your show, and the regulars, we've all heard this stuff at least 5 or 6 occasions. I would propose that we bring it forward onto what you would like to see, and possibly what laws are out there that are hindering black people that don't hinder white people, what racist laws there are out there, so that we can all get on board and maybe help fight them together.
I guess that's where you're missing my point. whatever. And I guess you're kind of echoing what Ziller said in terms of the frustration. I am simply responding to this show today, was simply responding to what happened Friday night. If you know, and when Chill says we're having the conversation, I understand what he says, because it is a conversation that's going to have to be had over and over and over. And sometimes some conversations, they do just get stuck. But I'm not looking to change, the world, whatever. All I'm saying is, can we just acknowledge that history did happen? That this, I mean, that's it. Can we just do that? But what I've heard from you, and I've heard from other people, like, well, two wrongs don't make a right. Do we have to talk about it? Whatever. And that's the thing, if I guess that is, I guess that is what I'm saying, because again, from the show on Friday night, you had someone who came out and told me about me talking about, being Black on a show where that never came up. Didn't come up at all. He's the one that brought it up. And then it turned into into what it is. But you're the type of person who, you look for solutions to everything, and I don't think that we ever will. I'm not looking, 40 acres and a mule. And by the way, Chill, we were never supposed to get the mule. It was only 40 acres. But anyway, Bob, go ahead.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm proposing that. So are you guys not up for that? Do you not want to explore what we can do to fix this?
I am up for everything, as long as people come. If they come to the table, and I'm including myself in this, come to the table with an open mind. Don't call people a victim. And at the same time, I can't go around saying, no, all white people or all Black people. You have to have an open mind. And as Chill said, you see it from everybody's perspective is different.
Yes.
So wait, hold on. Because Tuttle's left, and I am sorry, Tuttles. You have the mic. Tuttle, sorry.
No, my alarm was going off. I just made pizza in the oven. That's why I was bouncing back down. But my wife just actually got it as I was hanging up. I just wanted to call and say, you know what? You keep doing you. You're one of the most outspoken, truthful people on the whole of Podbean. Don't let any asshole fucking try to swerve you other ways, and just keep up the good work.
Thank you, Tuttles.
That's all I wanted to say, because like, a lot of people spout a lot of bullshit around here, and you don't. So good job on you, and you keep up the good work, no matter what any other asshole says.
Thank you very much. And just so you know, I will be on your show on Thursday, because if you do listen to the first part of my show Friday, when Scooter came in, we were both talking about how much we enjoy your show on Thursday night, and I really, really did.
Well, thank you very much for that.
So yeah, I really like your show. So, but thank you.
And thank you for coming on the show on Thursday night. It was great having you up there.
And I will be there again on Thursday. So yeah.
All right. Keep up the good work. That's all I wanted to say.
All right. Thank you, Tuttles. Okay, so yeah, but I mean, I am willing, but again, I'm saying, everybody's mind has to be open. And what I hear a lot are a lot of stereotypes and about handouts and what have you. And that's not where Black people want. That's not what we want. At least I don't think that most people do. And I think that that openness has to be on both sides. But are we going to fix racism and the world on a 2-hour show? Nope.
No, I mean that in itself. Like, I've listened to yourself and a few others on the show, and I actually sit back sometimes after the show is finished and think, well, what do they want? What do you want? I know the whole reparations thing. We spoke a little bit about that, and I don't even know if that's something that you want. But I mean, that's where I'm left. I'm like kind of because I am intrigued. I'm more intrigued about laws and things that are in place that oppress the black people and don't oppress the white people, because I don't want to sound like I don't care, because I do, but like societal racism, you're never going to fix it, in my opinion, and it's wrong. And more people, I think, like we said last night on last night's show, with the transgender issue, it's like they are the minorities. It's horrible when it happens, and no one's saying it doesn't happen. But these people need to be, dealt with. I don't know, whatever way. But what I'm more concerned about is the way our world is run. That well, I'm not saying you, but some people think that black people are being oppressed, government-wise, like law-wise, and then if they are, I'll be on your side with that, 100%.
But okay. But do you think that's okay? I'm just going to come out and say, because that's the only way that I can do it. You have this thing about the government. You have this thing about the government and the media that you hold on to very, very tight. So do you think that could influence the way you tend to say, what do you all want? What do you all want? The government, and it's not all about the government.
No, because I want a fair playing field for all skin colors, and the only way I see the fair playing field is if you bring up some laws that the government have passed that affect black people, then we're all going to have to get on board and fight them. If there's none, then I don't want to hear a single word about oppression in the black community anymore, because we all have the same freedoms.
Okay, but listen to what you just said. You asked me, was I open to moving the conversation forward? But you just said that if you don't hear anything about laws, then you don't want to hear. So you right there are saying that you're going to shut the conversation down if you don't hear.
No, not at all. I've said the last 5 minutes that I know racism happens. And if I was walking around a store with you and I couldn't hold my tongue, I'd be, I feel like I don't have to defend myself on that. But I do. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that we live in a world where black BLM and I'm very intrigued. I'm yet to hear a law or something that the government are doing that restricts black people's freedoms, that doesn't affect white people either. So
you're looking for a law.
Well, anything that is taking away rights, because that is what racism is. It's restricting people of color based on just their color of skin.
Okay, but again, are you looking for a law? Because there are a lot of things that people do that may not be a law, but they do it because of the color of your skin. So when
you're alluding to privilege.
I'm alluding to, well, actually, I'm not going to allude to anything. What I'm saying is that when you have someone who lives in an apartment building and they're walking in, and you have a white person say to them, "What are you doing here?" And they say, "I live here." And they're like, "Well, can I see your key?" Well, apparently they just came through the damn door. And then they're saying, well, I don't feel safe around you, while they're following that person that they don't feel safe with to an elevator and getting into an elevator and letting that elevator door close, and then following them off the elevator to their apartment. And when they get to their apartment, they're putting their key into the lock, and they're still saying, "What are you doing here?"
Yeah.
That is a problem.
Like I say, there are instances like that, societal racism, things that can affect your, to boil it down, I can't take away your freedoms. I can't make you do anything. I can't restrict your freedoms. I can, if you let me, upset your day. I can make you go home and cry yourself to sleep. I can ruin your day. That's unfortunate. It's a horrible thing, and I'm all on board. If I seen it, I couldn't hold my tongue. But unfortunately, there's nothing that that is where you'll get people saying like, rise above it. And I know it's easier than done,
but Bob, again, this is where we part ways, and we always have, because you feel that, well, first of all, nobody makes me run home and cry. Nobody upsets my day. That's not gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but this is where you feel that it has to be this, and this, and
it does, because people living on this earth should all have a level playing field. And then because a lot of
everyone
it,
doesn't
I believe
have
a lot
level. Okay, but again, it comes down to you believe, you believe. Everyone doesn't have a level playing field, and
that's why I want to know.
I mean,
but that's why I want to know if there's laws, because if there is laws that restrict, like, we should all be behind them. And if there isn't, then basically that meme that I like to say is like where you have a courtroom where you have the criminal's black, the policeman's black, the judge is black. What's the difference? The judge stuck in at school and made a life for itself, whereas the criminal chose to go down the dark route. And that's what it is. It's about choice.
Right. And it's also individual responsibility. You can have all the laws you want to. You have laws, that okay, for Chill, he said that $300 of his money, not once, not twice, but several times, was taken from by cops. Cops are not supposed to do that. That's illegal. You can have all the laws you want to, but if people are not going to abide by them, what difference does it make? And basically, we can have this conversation over and over and over and over and over. Is it ever going to get resolved? No. Because for me, where you look at it as laws and government, I look at it as individual responsibility. You have individuals who think and want to do certain things, who treat people a certain way. If Ziller goes into a store and someone is mistreating him because of his disability, that's not the government doing that. That's that particular asshole who decided to pick on someone who was different.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's why I want to move the conversation on, is to ask, what would you want to do in those instances? Like, I've yet to understand, what do you want to see happen to pull racism, to end racism?
I would like for people to acknowledge that racism is alive and well, and that historically racism is built into the fabric of not just America, but into this entire globe. And if we acknowledge that, then maybe we can move the needle forward.
Well, that's what I'm proposing, is because we're all in your show and we've all heard this conversation. Can we move them? I'm asking, like, I'm proposing. Can we move the needle forward for a show?
We can try, and people, and I've watched people come in and out, and people are probably sick and tired of hearing it, and that's fine. Like I said, you either come or you can stay, whatever. But I don't think, I think what you're wanting is like a pipe dream, because we can have all of the discussions we want to, but at the same time, our law is going to be made from, hell, we can't even get a law for voting rights. We can't, there's just so many things that are just not going to happen. So, but Bob, I want to ask you, did you listen to the show that I forwarded you? Did you listen to that show from last night?
No, because the one that you forwarded, I did this with Cubella and Tuttle's show. It's almost as if it's like an MP4 file, and if ever I close my phone or touch the screen, it like kind of freezes. I need to wait till she uploads it as an MP3.
Okay. All right. Okay. Because everyone, this is a show that you should listen to. And Bob, I almost want you to listen.
I'll listen to
listen to the show before. No. I'm saying this before you make any more comments that you're making. I would like for you to listen to this show coming from a white woman, coming from a white person.
Listen, I've heard it all before, and this is the thing I laugh about, because there's someone else in the chat saying, listen to this and watch this, and it's like I could send you guys things. It would be I know there's no point. I send you things all the time. I know you're not watching them. You probably
but you know what? And see, that's where you and one other person who sends me things all the time is wrong.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I watch
because
everything that you all send, and you all send a lot of stuff, like constantly, over and over and over. And I may not get to it right then and there, but I do watch it, and I have never ever said I'm not going to read something or watch something. But both of you have said to me, "No, I'm not going to."
No, I definitely haven't.
Oh,
no
yes.
way. Because I haven't.
Oh, yeah, you have.
No, I haven't.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't.
Yes, you have.
No way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
No way.
Yes, you have. You have.
There's no way.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yes, you have. Yes, you have. But you know what? That's cool. In fact, you even said it on the show that Chill and you and I did. Whatever. But you know what? But that's cool. If people don't want to listen or read something, that is fine.
Yeah, but that's the problem I have. So that's why I know I haven't. Is I can't stand when I present evidence and people say, "Well, that's your reality. That's not mine." Like, if it's evidence and it's factual, then you have to take it on board. And if you don't, and this isn't, I know the race issue, it's going to be harder because it's like it's ingrained in you and you're passionate about it. But if someone sends me evidence showing me that the Earth is a globe, or any of my beliefs are contradicted by these, then I'll change my tune. I'll have to pivot. Whereas I don't see that from a lot of people on this subject.
Wait. So you're saying that you want evidence of racism? So you want evidence that racism ever happened, or that it's happening now?
Not at all. No, I know all about that. I know it's not like I said this in one of your shows that ended up into a 2-part thing, where I don't think racism isn't caused by, it wasn't white people, it was Jewish people, and it's not a racism thing because black people held black people as slaves and white people were held as slaves also. But those things don't fit into the narrative. It's like that saying that is like, no, it's our thing. We were slaves, and it's like whenever I say those things, you should take them on board, look into them first and foremost. Everyone should go and look into that. And if I'm right, then you need to pivot.
Well, no, because I am well aware that black people, especially black people in Africa, they did have slaves. I know that that the Spaniards have slaves. Everybody basically had slaves.
Exactly.
Whatever.
So then, how much reparations do I get?
Okay, but you're talking about doing the pivot. Well, first of all, for the reparations, if something was written down and they said that they were going to do it, and it was never done.
Listen, the government always lie. They're never going to give you anything.
Okay, but regardless, it was still written down, and you just said, what can become a law. So, hey, it was a law. It was something that was supposed to happen. So
that's why you need to jump over to my side, because you'll know that this is all just a plan. This is a plan.
But I'm not jumping over to your side.
But there's no sides. This is the thing. I need you to understand this, right? No, I said you need to pivot with your beliefs, because if you think that slavery is racist and it was only black people that were held as slaves, and then someone comes to you. No, I'm not saying you do. I'm not saying you do, but I'm saying there are people out there that will know that, because you don't get taught that in school, that black people held black people as slaves. You don't get taught that the Irish and there are a lot of white people were also held as slaves. And you also don't get taught that not every black person was a slave. There were some rich black people that weren't slaves, and they held black people as slaves. So you don't get taught that in school. And then when you do get taught it from a stranger, I would expect everyone to go, and I hold them accountable, to go and research. And if they find that it's true, then they need to pivot and go, okay, I need to reevaluate my feelings. So who was it that started slavery? Oh, okay, it was the Jewish people. Okay, is that true? Okay, right. They also said that we were going to get 40 mules and whatever it is. Like that's how you need to be. But if people present evidence and people are just going to shut them down and say, nope, I don't want to hear that. I'm a victim, and I know you hate that word, but not just in the racial thing, in any. If I was to shut down someone when they present a fact about flat Earth, and I was just to go, no, I don't want to hear it. I believe the Earth's flat, and that's my reality. What would you think?
But that's what you're. But Bob, that is what you're doing. And racism. The definition of racism is a discrimination or antagonism, or you're being antagonistic towards another group of people. It doesn't mean that just because you own slaves and that person owns slaves and white people own them and black people own them. Racism is being when you are purposely being antagonistic, or you are
yeah, I know what it is.
okay, right.
And I'm not saying that doesn't exist.
Right. And that's where so when I look at racism, that's the definition that I'm looking at. I'm not looking at who was a slave, who wasn't a slave, whatever. I'm looking at the true definition of it. And this is and once again, Bob, this is where I'm saying is where we part ways, because you believe what you believe and you hold on to it. I'm going to believe what I'm going to believe. And if we can come together in some mutual whatever, that is great. If we don't, then we don't. And I'm fine with that too.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to dislike you because you think a certain way. I hope you don't dislike me because I think think a certain way. But we do see things, and I think the world, everyone sees things from a different lens. I cannot say, giving an example, what the people of the Ukraine feel about war, because I've never been in a war. I know people who have, but I've never had my house bombed. I've never had to leave to leave my home. So I can't. They're living their own reality. That's their reality. I mean, they're living that life through their own lens. I can't say anything to that. So I can have an opinion, but that's their reality. I can't tell them that how they feel is wrong or whatever. So
okay.
So
real quick, I know one thing that would help Bob would be all right, so where you may necessarily, so if you say something and I feel like that could be accurate, maybe not. I think that's the conversation to be had to say, all right, well, this is where I may disagree, and at that point is when, a show would help to talk about those things. Just to have a show about it wouldn't probably do anything, but to kind of identify what say maybe questions you may have, maybe make it a little bit more hyper focused, like say from your own standpoint. So this is information I have. You know what I mean? And what do you think about it? And that has to be the show that's researched, and it kind of been like people caught. I mean, a lot of ins and outs I already have, but you may not have read literature about like a Frederick Douglass or W.E.B. Du Bois, who are on two different ends of each spectrum. Which one you would agree with more so, and the other one you wouldn't. So I would think that's something that you would probably have to delve in yourself in that historical right, because there's a lot out there, and I hear what you're saying. What you're saying is that pull yourself up by your bootstraps and the hell with everything else. Really realize who's affecting your daily lives on the grand scale, and overcome all of that, because there's people who've done this all the time. But what the thing is that we're not talking like a law of average. I mean, we're talking law of averages, like a lot of resilient, smart, brilliant people. Everybody doesn't have that. Everybody isn't, or nobody's an athlete. Some people are just of average intellect. They're good people too, but or just some of them may not be educated because of whatever case may be. But proper education is a thing. Black people did own slaves, but for the majority, I mean, okay, we can point to the exceptions, right? Of how they're fine. There are people that did buy themselves out of slavery, or indentured servitude, escaped to the north. It's a lot of stories about that, but was it the actual, the average? thing of a black person? Nah, probably not. So those are things that you should. That's the way you should research things, because you kind of come to a truth, your own truth of what you think about it. But overall, that
Mhm.
doesn't take away from the general aspects of the psychology behind it, and how even if it wasn't the truth, how they did maybe use slavery in the history books to kind of keep people where they were. So that's a problem within itself. Either way, it's there and it's a thing, whether it's perceived or not. It's there. So you have to handle that. But there's issues that you may have that I might not necessarily agree with, that you can identify or we can identify and then go over it. And that's probably a conversation that maybe you would have on friendly differences, or just in general, just like a kind of personal conversation when we're talking about. So we got time to
Or
kind of
have it
identify
on
what
your
you may
show.
your questions. Oh, who so?
No, I
Huh?
mean, no, I'm saying Bob, but Bob can
Oh,
have the same
oh.
conversation on his
Right, right,
show.
right, 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 or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just this whatever the
No,
medium
I
is.
know,
That's yeah,
I know.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, it's just so, though that'll make it more productive opposed to just saying this is a show about racism, or this is just how we solve racism. Then
You
we
know,
gotta identify. You gotta understand it first before we solve a problem. How you gonna fix some shit you don't even understand?
and that's why I
So
say that history, you need to understand. You need to understand history. Now, the other ground live says there were lots and lots of Irish that were indentured servants. Irish have had some bad times in history. Absolutely, I am not going to deny that at all.
Asian too, Asian as
I mean,
well. Chinese
every group,
American, yeah.
pretty much has. Petty Deb
Mhm.
says BLM article was not factual. Go to their site and read their manifesto.
But
Juju
even
says my father's mother is a white Jewish lady and she married a black man. And thank you everybody for liking the show. And okay.
I want to point something out. Indentured service too is still a step above slavery.
True, because indentured servants, they only were indentured servants for 7 years, and then they
Not
were
necessarily.
free.
Well, right.
So
Well, technically, quote unquote.
yeah,
But even then, there's scale. Like when black people speak, it's not that they're taken away from other people's plight, but they will make you realize that indentured servitude is still a step above slavery. Like we may not necessarily, we're not gonna take away from what you've been through, but you got to, in perspective, we're still the bottom of the bottom. A person would make a true person that was trying to illuminate somebody would say that.
okay, all right. And Tuttles, if you can email us, I put the email in there. I do believe I did. Because you and Cucubello, you are two people that we would like to have on Friendly Differences. So yeah, guys. So this is the show. And I'm about to get cut off. So thank you guys for
See y'all
coming.
later.
And again, go where the wind takes you. And hopefully I'll see y'all tomorrow. It'll be I'll probably change the title and make it a little bit lighter. So bye. Oh boy. I didn't realize the time had gone by this fast, but it did. And thank you for people who are listening on YouTube, on Twitter, and TikTok. Hopefully the sound came through over on TikTok. Okay, everyone, enjoy the rest of your day.